Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. I'm Marksman. So for the introduction, I'm an ADC main since season 5 and I'm a current gold 5. I want to show you how you play Vayne and want to give you some advices. I'm not trying to be someone who's a show off or wants to show his super mechanics. I want to share with you my mechanics and share with you the information that helped me to learn Vayne. And yes, without further ado, let's get right into it. I divided the video in 4 sections. The first section is laning phase, the second is positioning, the third is team fighting, and the last one is mechanics. I'm going to show you some mechanics I often use in 1v1s or in league games generally. The laning phase is one of the hardest parts, I guess, for myself as Vayne. In general, as an ADC, I think for myself, I think laning phase is much harder than team fighting or everything else. So for the laning phase, do not take risky trades and try to use defensive keystones like fleet footwork that gives you some regen on the lane. And for example, you use fleet footwork when you face against a lane like Zyra Varus or Draven Karma. The most important thing about the lane phase is not to die. It's okay if you lose, for example, in the laning phase 20 CS or something. Just don't die. Don't give the enemy an advantage so they can get ahead. So you will anyway outscale them. For example, most of the lane dominant ADCs are not scaling well in the late games. For example, MF Varus, Vayne outscales them so hard. So just stay under turret, play defensive and farm. Or wait for a gank from the jungler. As long as the enemy is getting no advantage from the lane, you win. The second thing is positioning and kiting. I think kiting and positioning is the most basic knowledge that you need to know or have as an ADC in general. There are 2 options to kite. You can use A-click or you use just the mouse cursor to do it, to kite backwards. And yeah. First of all, I'll explain you what kiting means. Kiting is when the enemy is chasing you and you are going backwards, but while you're going backwards, you're also auto attacking. So yeah, I prefer the mouse cursor because I learned it that way and it's the best. I feel like it's the best for me, and so maybe you prefer the same or the other option with the A-click. It's better for you. It's up to you. As an ADC, you always need to stay safe behind the tanks. The safest position is where no enemy can use F and a gap closer to stun or burst you or hit you with any spells. It's hard, but you need to keep the distance at all time. And for kiting, you also need to keep distance between you and your enemy. Keep the enemy on the edge of your auto check range so they cannot attack or burst you with any spells or attacks. When you are very good at kiting, you will be a good ADC and you will have dealt more damage than you would have dealt without kiting. And I'm still learning kiting. You never be at a point where you learned everything and be the best ADC. You're always learning. This third thing is team fighting. In team fights, your good laning phase and good kiting and positioning skills will be paid off. What's very important is not to get hit by enemy engaging tools. For example, Malphite ult is a very good engaging tool, and when you get hit at the beginning of the team fight with that, you are definitely dead, and all abilities will be focused on you. You need to dodge most of all incoming CCs and high damage abilities. For example, don't get caught by Leo ult, and then all other spells will be focused on you. Don't engage before all important enemy engaging on teamfight suits that are on cooldown, and don't be greedy to use summoner spells. Don't overuse the summoner spells. So use them always at the right time. You need to get a mindset for using your summoner spell at the right time. And you need to know when to use it and do not use it. Don't be greedy. Sometimes you have in teamfights it's good if you use both summoner spells because you have them to dodge skill shots, to dodge damage, which means you longer survive, and survivability is everything for an ADC. Uh, a suggestion for myself for team fighting: before the team fight, check which summoner spells are up, so you don't forget or waste time in team fight trying to use your summoner, which is at the time on cooldown, but you don't know because you didn't check the availability. Every fracture of a second counts to lose or win a game. You always need to stay uh, what I call slippery in team fights. I think to do that with Vayne is very easy because of the invisibility of the ultimate final hour. Um, yeah, and but keep always in mind not to be an easy target to engage. That's what I meant with slippery. You are not easy to catch. And try to figure out which target are the most important member of the enemy team. So make sure you take out the key member of the enemy, which I call it. Team, for example, a fat Lux or fat enemy Twitch, for example. Someone who has, uh, or someone who has a winning team fight ability. For Vayne, it's very easy to three-shot an immobile mid laner, for example. And because of your invisibility, you have advantage. The factor to lose a team fight is greed. So don't greed for a kill. If the enemy mid laner flashes, it's a win for you because in the next team fight, the enemy mid laner or ADC, whatever, don't have doesn't have a flash, and he or she is limited in her own mobility. So you need to develop a mindset or feeling when to greed for a kill and when not. So now we have the mechanics of Vayne. The first combo I very often use is Q. The exact name is Tumble, plus the ultimate final hour of Vayne to dodge incoming skill shots. So you turn invisible and tumble in a different direction, backwards to the sides, or to confuse the enemy, that the enemy doesn't know where you are. Um, uh, Also, an effective combo, how you can use the combo in a ranked game, is to ward a bush, to bait the enemy in a bush, and when the enemy walks into the bush, you press R plus Q out of the bush, so they don't see you leaving the bush. If the enemy is in the bush on the lane, you can condemn them against the wall, and you will definitely win the trade. So you are for a long time invisible because they can see you in the bush, and they can't see you when you're out of the bush, and then they get condemned. The mechanic is the flash plus condemn, also E. It's sometimes not so easy to pull off. Most of the times you can use the mechanics in the 1v1s or 1v2s, I guess. There's also, I have an example for you. You can also use the E um, if you predict the enemy, that the enemy will use a dash, for example, Kata Shumpu or Blink, I don't know. E them before they dash, and they will get knocked away or stunned against the wall if you close to wall. So I'm going to show you. So there's the cutter, and she jumps, and I E her, and she's not close to a wall, but when she jumps behind me, she gets stunned, and that's that's the factor which wins the trade, and I get a double kill. So it's very important to hit the stuff, but it wins the game most of the time, or the 1v1 or 1v2.